Welcome to this episode of Tet Talks with Tetrad IT. Our theme for today is technical excellence. So it's very fitting that we're chatting to one of Tetrad's excellent techies, Ram. Hey, Ram, how are you?
Hi, Lucinda. I'm good, thanks. How are you doing?
Very, very good. Thank you. So, Ram, I've worked with you for about 3 years. And the first interaction I had with you that I remember is that you assisted me to get a laptop charger on a day that I'd forgotten my charger at home. And then you declined the chocolate that I bought for you to say thank you. So that chocolate was delicious. Thank you. But since then, we've crossed paths on a number of occasions with varying projects. So I know who you are, but could you please let everyone behind their screens know who you are?
Okay, perfect. Thanks, Lucinda. And yeah, I do remember that because I was the only one having a Lenovo that time. And yeah, so pretty much I started with Tetrad like 3 years ago or 3+ years ago, and it was a really nice journey. And personally, I'm a mechanical engineer. Landed up in IT for past so many years. And funny enough, I studied botany zoology in my high school. I didn't even read computers, and it just got as a destiny because I started as a C Sharp dev, Angular, moved on to SQL, and then I met Tetrad. I was saying, okay, what is a Salesforce? Can I get a chance to learn that? And then that's how it started with Tetrad, and that's my short description. And now I think I have around 100 plus solutions, both implemented and sold. So yeah, that's how it's been going between SME, CPU, and enterprise markets.
Incredible. And we know that that jumper that you're wearing is very well deserved. You are our very own trailblazer and you have blazed through Salesforce's entire trail. So it's really, really such a privilege to be able to work with you. In the period of time that you've been with Tetrad, how have you seen Tetrad develop and what do you enjoy most about being with the Tetrad team?
Yeah, so yeah, that's an interesting question because when I started with Tetrad, 3.5 years ago, it was it was still booming. It was just on the springboard, not really launched, but still having those really interesting projects and not only working with Sales Cloud and Service Cloud, we were across other products as well. But the team was really agile and young at that time, and I'm really privileged to work with them at that time to implement those products. And one of the most noticeable ones was the auctionation product, which took us to San Francisco. And funny enough, that was within the first 3 months of my tenure within the company, and it was like, wow, like you implement a project and you just
Get on a
got like four
plane.
tickets to four tickets to San Francisco. So that was an interesting thing for me. And like I said, Tetrad as a company was really agile, and we were like working like 16 hours, 18 hours just so that we get a successful product out and all of that. But at the same time, we also partied hard. And for me personally, it was a change in scene because I come from a completely enterprise background, your Citibanks, your Larsen and Tobros, and your Barclays, APSA, and all of them. And it was like, okay, now I'm in like a proper place where I fit. And that's my view when I started. And yeah, I was really lucky, like I said, to be part of it when it was really a core team that was forming the Salesforce piece of the company. That's personally what I like with Tetrad. And on top of it, like I like mentoring juniors and I like getting mentored from my seniors in the management team. So that is one of the best things that I've got with Tetrad personally, where yeah, as we all know, Tetrad Academy hires interns and graduates, and we train them. And at the same time, we also have senior people like 25 years in CRM and 20 years in CRM and 18 years, 15 years in Sage Intacct, Sage, and all of that. So I personally like the conversation with them, and I like getting mentored in that way, maybe knowingly or unknowingly. That's my nature. So those are a few things that I like. And on top of it, the way we encourage learning and getting things going, be it new products or new items. And as you would know, like I'm a Salesforce person, and when I wanted to know Sage Financials, I go to Marco or yourself, and then we just get going. And the same thing happened with, I think if I remember, Yeah, 2018, when the Commerce Cloud was new to the market, I just wanted to get into the Commerce Cloud side of things. And the same thing happened with CPQ and marketing and community. And all I need to do is like give a call to my or drop an email to my talent manager or my operations manager, and then I just get a training voucher from the company to go to Salesforce training, get trained, get certified, and things like that. So pretty much the way we encourage and mentor new talents or young talents is the best thing I like with Tetrad, and I'm really happy to be part of it.
That's wonderful. And I know within the team, there's always competitions running to make sure that people are motivated and incentivized to be able to get more training, which is really empowerment for the individual. So it's really wonderful that you're also excited to learn yourself as a more senior person, and then to be able to pass that knowledge on to the juniors in the team, of which we have many, and we're excited to have them. They bring that young, fresh blood to the team. So excellent. So, Ram, it's undeniable that we're living in a time period when businesses are bound to interact with and maybe even consider adopting technologies that they actually don't really understand. There might be confusion around what the technology does or its value proposition, or why things can't just be done as they've been done all this time because it seemed to work. So let's address some of those misconceptions and fears. What are the biggest fears that your customers have had or your prospective customers have had before starting to work with Tetrad on a project?
Okay, that's a really day-to-day life question for myself, because I tend to repeat myself so many times. And one of the biggest misconceptions with our client base or even the market itself, I would say, is considering CRM as an IT problem. So they think CRM as an IT issue where a system which is sophisticated enough should run the business. But from an implementation partner perspective, or myself personally, it's more towards like business and IT as a core team driving the customer relationship strategy or even the implementation side of things. And that being said, it's one of the basic principles I would like to convey to any customer that I will work with or I am working with, that business needs to give us the guidance and IT needs to be part of the team where we drive towards a single goal, and it's not in isolation. And one of the other major, from the top of my head, what I can think of is the way we think CRM can slow things down. And that's a really huge conflict between the client itself, because the management thinks CRM is going to give them a monitoring tool, but the team is going to think they're gonna get micromanaged, and then they come up with reasons saying CRM is going to be too much work for them. But that's where we come in with our consulting experience or expertise and convey the message saying, guys, it is to help everyone within the company and not to manage or get managed. And that I would rank as like the second most challenging thing or misconception, that we would like to make it really clear from day one. And at the same time, not everyone is like in the Instagram era, if I can put it that way, because everyone who is in sales, from our enterprise clients or even to our CBU and SMB space, they are in the industry for 30, 40 years, and they haven't seen a watch that can record your voice and log your task or log your meetings or something like that. And funny enough, we are trying to help them, and the way they pick things up is also really quick. And I wouldn't say it's a misconception, but the way they think CRM is going to slow their process of recording a meeting or reporting something or things like that is really interesting for me personally. And then we tend to get into our consulting mode and say, this is how it worked. And we bring in with the examples from all over the globe and say, this is how it works. And if a company found in 18th century can transform, like, so can we. And that's one of the big misconceptions that we tend to tackle with on a daily basis. And if I can add on to that, one more big thing that we have on a day-to-day, weekly basis is on the SMB space. People think CRM is for enterprise, and can an SMB even afford a CRM and something as sophisticated as Salesforce? And that is a really hard question. And the unfortunate thing is, most of the SMB clients tend to answer themselves and not ask the experts or the market people. And that's where it becomes really interesting for us. Because if I think about it, only 1% or 2% SMB clients tend to reach out to us, to talk to us even, but the 99 or 95% is actually answering themselves saying CRM is not for SMB group or SMB enterprises. And that's where I would like to make a point where it is across the board, where CRM starts with your essentials to SMB, to professional, to enterprise, and all of that. And that is a message that I would like to convey to the market, where every group or every company requires or has to have a CRM to increase the ROI. And trust me, talking about it, people think ROI is just, okay, IT resource, platform value, and then this is my expense, where is the income? And they tend to calculate the ROI differently or completely wrong. And yeah, I would like to personally put that as a misconception as well, because right from who it belongs to, where it fits, how do we calculate our return of investment, all these is something that comes together when we put our consulting hat on a daily basis. And yeah, it's been a really good journey, and thus far these are the really big misconceptions that I've got for the market.
If you don't mind, I'm actually going to pick your brain on two of the things that you've mentioned. So firstly, how do you then deal with change management? As you've said, you are interacting with people who have maybe been in the industry for decades, and what they were doing worked at the time. How do you then help them and their team to adopt these changes in systems?
Okay, so myself and my team, what we tend to convey as a single message is like, the system is not to monitor you. The system is there to help you. And then we list down all those mundane things that they do on a daily basis and pick up which ones can we automate and which ones can we directly send out. For example, I had situation where one of the financial director requires like 25 reports on a monthly basis and a bi-weekly basis. And the team is actually jotting down, making calculations on the fly and things like that. Whereas that could have been a report subscribed for a particular person or a user. And that eliminates like 45 minutes in a week or an hour in a week. And if we calculate, it comes around 60 hours a year. Or yeah, 54 hours a year. And that's what we tend to sit with the client and do. Let's pick all those list of items. Let's see how we can make it better. And the moment you bring in a tool which is going to help them and increase the sales, and yeah, there ends the story, because that's what they want. They don't want a tool to manage each other. It's more towards increasing the sale. End of the day, the return on investment, the increase in sales is what that is important. And we always tend to keep our goal to that. And it's not to make the tool to micromanage people. Instead, we just say the goal is to increase sales, the CRM is to increase customer relationship. How can we better serve the customer? And we just stick with those two. And that's what made our life easy. And lucky enough, every client gets on board with this particular end goal.
Awesome. So quantifying the value proposition, essentially. And that's wonderful. The second thing I wanted to ask is kind of related. When a client comes to you or prospect comes to you, do they need to have their goals in mind already? Or do you help them to understand what aspects of the environment can be improved?
Definitely yes and no for that question, because the customer already has a brief understanding of what they want. But at the same time, my team or myself or Tetrad as a company has worked with tens of other customers with a similar use case, similar market strategy, and similar end goal as well. So we would like to listen to the customer and understand what they want as the end goal. But more often than not, we tend to add on to what they have, because they are restrictive with what they know currently in the market. So that's how we kind of deal with it. And like I said, like even my team has a really broad background. Like I said, myself personally, botany, zoology, engineering, logistics, and all of that with IT makes it easier to talk to a client who is dealing with the logistics problem, who is dealing with the shipping and handling problem. And we do have really, so my team personally has like really good business analysts who is coming from finance background, blog background, and things like that, where they can relate to the client's problem much better And that's what has helped us really big time. The broader background and the way we consult with the client.
Yeah, with such a diverse team, I mean, you have so many strengths
Mm-hmm.
that you can draw on, which is fantastic. So, Ram, can you relate an experience of a successful implementation, a recent one perhaps, and what the benefit was for that customer?
Okay, perfect. I can think of a couple, Lucinda, because we don't have a single client with all the products, but we have many clients with multiple products.
Mm.
And I can think of a recent one, Old Mutual Insure, where we are trying to implement financial services cloud and transitioning them from the existing sales and services cloud. That's been a huge hit, and it is going good. Like in the past 9 to 12 months now, it's kind of going good, and we have successfully deployed features to be honest, every week. And the team is also trying to take it really positively. And if I take a step back, even if I go a year or year and a half back, like our halfway Toyota as a client with marketing cloud implementation, service cloud, and our Meridian One merchants with consumer goods cloud and standard core platform with integration, all these are pretty much like milestones for Tetrad as a team. And it all comes from different products, like I said, from consumer goods to education, manufacturing, financial services. And that's a list of clients that I would say. And personally, because we are working with All Mutual Insure now, the way we are trying to position the next future for them in the next 3 years or 2 years is amazing. And trust me, if you're trying to claim from Old Mutual via WhatsApp in the next 2 years, that's going to be from our team. And we did the work. So that's the groundwork that we're doing now. And it's really interesting.
Yeah, no, that's really exciting. And I must say, even though we don't necessarily work in the same department, so I don't always get to see exactly what you're working on, at the times when we do, it's mind-blowing. And it's really exciting to know that we're part of a team that, as we've said previously, is so diverse, and we can celebrate each other's successes across the board. So that's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Your customer success is our customer success. Now, one of the powerhouses that Tetrad IT partners with is Salesforce. We've had some great TED Talks with Salesforce as well that are available as podcasts. And one thing that often comes up is that Salesforce is always innovating. What do you think is coming up in the near future that will revolutionize customers' lives?
Okay, I can tell you what I want from Salesforce because I might not exactly know what Salesforce has to offer. But the thing is, the amount of ecosystem build that we're doing now, like everyone is jumping on board with Salesforce, right from like I said, your small scale industry with 2 users to 2,000 users in your enterprise. So I personally would think of making use of customers customer 360 data for each and every client, and coming up with a globalized product like your intelligence, like your instant intelligence for sales. Because as much as we don't need to share information, but we can always learn patterns from it and bring a global IP of that particular pattern. And it's more towards integrated solution and making use of that integrated solution to serve the customer needs better. So I would say big data and a really good tool to manage big data of all these customers and making use of the intelligence, which is the outcome of that.
Awesome. An idea for the community. I better make sure that that's in there. Notes to Mark Benia.
Sure.
So we've used the word CRM or customer relationship management. We've spoken about implementations. Some of these things are things that are not necessarily familiar to the audience. So if anyone wants to get a hold of you to pick your brain about what technologies could help their business to innovate, to grow, to stay relevant, how can they get in touch with you?
My email address is ram@tetrad.co.za. It's ram@tetrad.co.za. Or they can, always reach out to my mobile number as well, which is 06426868084.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Ram, I've seen your calendar. It's full and colorful. It looks like a load shedding schedule. So I really appreciate the fact that you've allowed us some time in your calendar. And feel free to do me a favor sometime in the near future, so that I can buy myself a chocolate. I really appreciate your time. Thank you.
Perfect. It was nice chatting to you, Lucinda. Thank you.
Sure.